Building a startup and a scale up is the climbing Mount Everest of sport. People manage to do it. Some people die on the way. You don't want people that tell you, hey, you should train less or you should change this. And I know you just want people that say to you, keep going. I was a professional basketball player when I was young, okay? You know, when you're a professional sport player at a very high level, you wake up every day hating what you do. You wake up every day and think, oh my God, I want to just stay in bed. Oh my God, I don't want to do that game. Oh my God, today I need to go to the gym. They're saying that you build a startup. So what you need is people around you that say, go for it. You got this. You know what to do.
Welcome back to Wild Hearts. I'm your host, Mason Yates, on the investment team at Blackbird Ventures. Flavia Tata Nardini knows what it takes to scale a company through chaos. From building satellites in space to raising a massive Series D with tens of millions of dollars in annual recurring revenue. Flavia's journey as CEO of Fleet Space Technologies is one of relentless discipline, instinct, and hard-earned lessons. In this episode, we talk about why scaling a company feels like climbing Mount Everest and why the hardest problems always find the CEO. The founder superpower of seeing what no one else can and knowing when to step in versus step back. How Flavia's experience as an athlete shaped her leadership philosophy. Discipline beats doubt, repetition builds success. And why trusting your instinct might be the most important skill a CEO can develop. I kicked off my conversation with Flavia by discussing the Founder Mode article written by Paul Graham.
I enter into founder mode quite a lot of late because I am trying to learn to be a CEO. That is things that eventually you need to learn. And I like it. It's not given that founders will be with a company forever. We need to grow. Like after Series C, Series D, maybe going to IPO, you need to be a CEO, you need to be a director. You can't just be a founder. And that's hard. It's a growth. You need to like it. But sometimes you just need to get into put your founder hat and just go in and dig in. And you know what I've been learning more and more in the past years that I've been trying to do with my growth as a CEO, but you realize the founders has got a different brain. There are problems that no one can solve except founders. It's not just me, it's even Matt. You know, when everyone is stuck and Matt and I enter into founder behavior and we can unlock the weirdest things. And everyone keeps telling you, eventually you will have to stop doing it. You have your team to run, you need to trust them, all good things, you know, you need to run the company by the numbers and da, 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 da. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just hit some roadblocks when you're building a scale up. Customers are unhappy all of a sudden. What's happening? Product is not selling as well as before. What? Like you need to sell a new product and launch it into the market. No one knows how to do it. I've been the acting CRO of Fleet of the past 6 months. I go back to do sales every 2 weeks.
Founder sales.
I love sales, by the way. I think it's great. Because it really exposed me to understand the customer's problem, and then I can build a product behind it, right? So I do this, and not everyone, but a lot of people are like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this because you're the CEO, you are the founder, you should bring the company. I get that. Like, and then you look at Cliff or Canva that is being CRO, working with sales the past couple of months to try to bring the company to be a $1 trillion company. Even Michael Brooks was CRO for a while this year because he needed to understand how to sell to enterprise sales and, you know, and different type of selling. It is fascinating that no matter if you got $40 million revenue, 400 or 4 billion, there is a moment you need to put your founder hat and enter into sales and enter into product and solve things that no one has ever solved. At Sunrise, we're talking with Peter Beck, and we were talking about the fact that being a CEO is already being on another side of a hose full of shit. So the things that hit you are the problems that no one can solve, okay? They come to you and you're like, I can't believe this problem came to me. Like my C-suite is not be able to solve it, like their management not able to solve it, the people. And you look at it and you're like, why? And then you realize why, because it's actually a really complex problem. Then on the surface it looks really good, but it's complex. So it is, you're there a bit lonely, running a company, you're trying to make the company independent from you as a founder, but you get to solve all the shitty problems, all the most complicated things. And you have to activate your founder micromanagement activity when things don't work. It's lonely.
So is there an example that comes to mind where
Million.
what's
So
the most recent one?
So fleet, the interesting things is that cycle is a cycle, right? When you think you have solved a problem or a department, you move to the next one, and eventually you come back to that one. Because particularly when you are in upper growth and you grow in a company, problems are different. So in the past 6 months, no, so sales, sales was growing, but I was looking at the numbers, but I'm like, I'm not convinced, though, like, okay, let's dive into. And when you dive into as a founder, it's a bad day for the entire team. It's a bad month. It's a bad quarter. Like, it is because you start looking into everything. Okay, how do you do MQL to SQL, your conversion pipeline, let me do an analysis of all the lost deals and all the post deals. Let me talk to all the customers. Like, oh my God. And at that point in time, you can see that hole that no one could see it, and you're like, we need to fix that. And that's founder brain. I have not seen anyone working for me unless he was a founder person that ever done that. Matt can do that. It's a superpower, and it's very annoying for the team. And the more you grow and you got coaches and people that help you, that tells you not to do that. And I was telling Peter back, huh? People tell me not to do it. They're like, do you want to be not successful? Keep doing it. You need to trust your instinct, right? Your founder instinct tells us something is not wrong right there. So I think our fleet people that don't see me much, they're like, oh, things are going well in my department. When you start see Flavia in every meeting and walking down the warehouse, hello, asking questions, they're like, oh, she's on us.
Oh no, this is our month.
Oh my God, it's our month. And it is beautiful, actually. I really enjoy it.
Is loneliness just a feature, or I should say a bug of the job?
It is not even loneliness because, your C-suite is your team, your board is another team, but your co-founder is a team. So you got teams. The problem is that when you're a founder and a CEO and the company is growing, everyone wants to teach you something. So you got wrong coaches and people that have been like a CEO of a corporate. They think that they know what you're doing, and everyone gives you advices, and most of them are quite useless. So everyone is trying to teach you to be a great CEO. The only thing that you should learn is to believe in yourself and keep going. Like, this is the first time this year that I've got a coach. The first time I changed a couple of coaches, but this coach looks at me all the time and say, don't change a thing. Like, don't change, keep doing what you're doing. Okay. Smooth the edges there, smooth the edges there, focus on this, focus. It's teaching me focus. It's not teaching me to change. Most of the people teach me to change. You will have to do this. You will have to be this. You will have to dress like this. If you go to IPO, you will have to manage your team like this. You will have to have this dashboard. You cannot let you. This is a list of things.
You must hate that. So even I sort of cringe. Like, you have to do this. Like, stay within the rules of the status quo.
Yeah, you have to do it. You have to do that. Yeah. I was looking the other day. I was someone said to Elon Musk in an interview, like, aren't you worried about what you tweet and what an X, what you do, what you say? Like, you got boards, and he goes, I don't care. So when you get to a point that you believe in yourself, and no one and everyone that try to change you, it's not useful. That's lonely, because it seems like everyone knows what is the best for you. But at the end of the day, when you have built a startup as a founder, maybe brought it to a Series D or an IPO, you're probably the most intelligent person in the room.
You have so much more context than everyone else.
That's the reality. And probably the most intelligent, the one that has gone through most of the crap. Like, building a startup and a scale up is, I always tell my team, is the climbing Mount Everest of sport. Right? People manage to do it. Some people die on the way. You need to have a good support team. You need to hang in there. You need to have crazy motivation. So what is in sport is that. This is in business. So once you get up there, and I'm not up there at all, but on the way up there, you don't want people that tell you, hey, you should train less, or you should change this. And I know you just want people that said to you, keep going. Okay, keep going. Because I was a professional basketball player when I was young. Okay.
No way.
Many, many years. Yeah. Many, many years. Okay. when you're professional sport player at a very high level, you wake up every day hating what you do. It's not that you wake up every day, I want to run for 3 hours today.
Yep.
You really don't. Okay. You wake up every day and think, oh my God, I want to just stay in bed. Oh my God, I don't want to do that game. Oh my God, today I need to go to the gym. And this is the same thing if you run. Every day you wake up, you're like, oh my God, I need to run, right? It's the same if you need to climb Mount Everest, it's the same that you build a startup. So what you need is people around you that says, go for it. You got this. You know what to do. Get out of bed, go there. It's a problem to solve. You will solve it. But when you have people that says, you will be able to solve it if you change this. You will be able to solve if you don't look into this. Let people look into this. There is no time. So if founders can hear me, I would say trust themselves. And, when you are a founder, you've seen so much. There is a moment in instinct counts so much. That you look at a plan or a problem, someone comes to you with a revenue growth or an idea of a new product, and you have seen it all. And your brain start connecting. So, okay, is this a good plan? Is this a well-thought plan? Is this going in the direction that I want it to go? Is this concluding the risks and people have thought about the risk and compensating that? It is like best format and best, practice. You think about a lot of things in a nanosecond. You put them all in your brain and then you're like, I like this. Or you're like, that feels not good to me. And people look at you as like, how do you know? And I'm like, I know. It's like, oh, but you just seen it. I'm like, doesn't feel right. And in time, I have discovered that instinct, it's assemblable learning, right? It's learning that come to get into your brain, and trusting yourself. It's something really, really important at this stage.
What have you learned as CEO, especially this year?
So this year, I've learned how fun it is to run the companies by the numbers, because it is so much fun. So
being the sort of deep tech, like waiting to get into market to now having a product in market, like that must feel like night and day.
The thing is that, I'm a people person. So for me, it was always like, hey, what you doing? What are you doing? Like, tell me, like, is the satellite working? Is that working? Like, blah, blah, blah. But at a certain point, you create this C-suite, okay? And the really things that I've learned, that you want these people to tell you what you don't know. Okay, so you hire someone. My first rule is that, are you going to tell me something that I don't know? Like, you're the chief revenue officer, chief product officer, you are, whatever you are, like, are you going to sit down with me and tell me something that is going to blow my mind? So every meeting, I'm just waiting now. So in the past year, I've learned, weirdly, not to talk. So I get into meetings, and my rule of the meetings is, let's see who's going to tell me something that I don't know. Oh my God, that's so exciting, because you actually realize people's strength. And by doing that, I force people to tell me something that I don't know by numbers. So don't tell me, hey, that model for our customers, for fleet, for that deposit is not that good. I'm like, that good compared to what? And that sales rep doesn't really work well. In what stage? So now everyone comes to me with, hey, this is the target. This is what we want to achieve. This is why it's not working. This is how I measure it. And I'm like, okay, I like it. So we have started this 6-7 months ago. It's so hard. It's so hard. Because
what's hard about it?
Numbers, like, from MQLs to MQL to MPS, gross profit, EBITDA, people think they know what it means, but they don't really know. People look at, we have spent less there. We should have spent more, like connecting the dots. And everyone thinks that they know where the people are measuring, but it's all wrong. And then you get to a point in which the company really run itself. And that's the most fun things that I've learned this year.
Now that Fleet is in the numbers, how do you think about just running the business? How does Fleet Space work as a business?
We have this Fleet, we use this methodology since always. It's called, we use the Rockefeller habit.
Tell me about it.
So Rockefeller habit is Rockefeller, okay, it comes from the guy. built this book, and now there is a book called Scaling Up Methodology that is based on Rockefeller habits. That it's a fantastic book that I would suggest. There are probably 2 or 3 methodology for scale up, and we picked this one 4 years ago, Matt and I, and we chipped on it and we worked on it. So we have a framework that is really solid. So this framework goes from everything, from how you manage people, how you manage cash, how you manage value, how you manage tools, everything, okay? How many meetings you have a week, how do you do your meetings, how do you structure them, critical. It's very, very, very cool and very, very intense. We love it. Like, we live on it, Matt and I. And it gives this company structure, the customer's persona, how analyze the customer. I wish that everyone is scaling up. We use it because I really like it. So at the beginning, we thought, oh my God, it's stupid things that MIT said that we have to do. Like, yeah, sure, you're going to put the value and everyone will follow them, sure. And then we started, then you see the company growing and it's awesome. Like, it's awesome. It's like literally like an engine in which you are controlling every pieces. In hypergrowth, because fleet is growing, okay, in hypergrowth is convincing people to stick to the tools. Like, one of the big important lessons that I've learned in the past 1.5 years, because fleet it's been hard this year, with the Series D capital raise, that is an amazing achievement. It is hard. And what you learn, discipline becomes an important thing. The same way that I was telling you before, you play basketball, wake up in the morning, get your gears on, go. The day after, go. Always do the exercise 1,000,000 times. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Stick with it, okay? When you are in upper growth and in growth, everyone doubts themselves all the time. And they're like, oh, is this the path we have to take? And I think I repeat, stick to the tools like 10 times a day. Stick to the tools. Look at that tools that we have about accountability and our target. Look at that. Oh, okay. The day after, people are, I'm not sure what we're good. Look at this tool. So we print them. We are in every room. Like, look this. That's where we're going. That's what we're doing this quarter. That's what we're gonna do this week. Just do it. Okay. Discipline.
So you'll actually print like the plans and put them up on the walls. That is sick. What, is there one in your room right now?
Yes. So we got a 1-page strategic plan, okay, that gives the 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, 1 quarter.
Yeah.
Okay. With every number, every activities, what everyone has to do, and it's printed everywhere.
On a 1-pager, you've got the 5 year, 3 year, 1 year.
5 year, 3 year. This is a tool of the Rockefeller habit. All the activities, all the critical numbers. Okay.
Okay. That is cool.
And the stick with the tool. And sometimes in the meeting, people are like, oh, I can't remember anymore what we have to do and what we have to do. There's so much to do in a startup,
I mean, there's so much to do, but you've brought the clarity of mind into a single page.
Single page. Simplifying is the most difficult thing. Like, when there is nothing else to remove, you have reached perfection. So sometimes I think that 1-pager can become half a page. But it is awesome. And that's what I've learned this year, to step back, to listen, to see what people can teach me. And those are really valuable people. I started feeling proud of all my C executives. And I'm like, oh, you could be a good CEO if a car hit me. And that's a good feeling. You rarely have a good feeling like this. And when you get it, you're like, okay, amazing. Like, this company will be 100 years company. Capital raise Series D has been hard, beautiful. We can talk about it, but I love capital raising, right?
That's insane. Let's talk about it.
I love it and I hate it. Like, it's like a double.
Yeah. Love-hate relationship.
It is toxic relationship. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it for the possibility that gives you, right? This is people that are trusting in you to bring the company to the next level and grow it. They're like amazing growth, For me, there is not a middle way. Like, you build a company that's $5 million revenue, you build a company that's 40. I want to build a company that's $1 billion. So anything less than that, it will be a failure to me, right? So capital raising gives you that path to get there. The things that I really like is you learn so much about your business that you had no idea. Like you got the most interesting people around the world pulling you apart, piece by piece, your dreams, your understanding of the market, your understanding of the customer, your understanding of your numbers, your understanding of where you want to go, how much you're missing, how much you're not the right person, why you're not the right person, why your people are not the right person. So it's just like constant that communication. So on a daily base, you get exposed. And what I like about VCs, sometimes they don't understand it, particularly your topic, but they've seen a trend. So they spoke with so many companies, they've seen a trend. And sometimes they look at you. I'm very critical of fleet. So sometimes I look, I'm like, oh, why we are not yet $100 million revenue? Why we are just like 40, you know? And, but they're like, you know, this is going in the right direction. Like, this is going to get there. And I'm like, how? How? And they're like, we've seen this path. We have seen a trend. So VC have seen trends. And that inspires me because they're literally telling me, I've seen trends of SpaceX or Tesla, and you could be on that trend. And I'm like, really? It is good to hear it, right? On the other hand, it's so crushing. Like it is so crushing every day. You rethink everything and go in your loop, waking up in the morning and thinking, just getting every advice and spill it and say, okay, this is not good now. Oh, they're right here, but we cannot fix this problem. Oh, this is actually really good. Let's implement it. And oh man, this guy's right here. We'll never do that. Damn, like let's change this. So every day you're exposed to the maximum of thinking about a business that you can do. And it is demanding, it is scary, it is exciting, it makes you cry some days, like you get deal fatigue. Now the money are arriving and you think, oh my God, what's going to be next? You know, and are we going to use this money properly? Are we going to make our customers happy? Money don't buy customer happiness, right?
Mm-mm.
So you can raise $300 million, but it's a product that buys customer happiness. So
Just fuel. You could just burn the house down quicker.
like you raise $50 million, they're gone.
Just light it up.
You raise 450, they're gone. So you need to focus on making customers happy. So it's been 6 months and we started capital raising when Matt and I were getting married in June.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we got married in Ibiza.
Oh my gosh.
Fun, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was
I'm
the
so
best.
jealous.
Okay. So we had 5 days there and then we went for 10 days around Europe. So we were there. We went to David Guetta the night before the wedding.
Really? How good.
You know, we went to a party. Matt broke his arm the day before the wedding, unfortunately sleeping from a rock. So he had a cast.
He was sleeping from a what?
A rock in the middle of the sea. So he had a cast. But that's on top of that. So we are getting married in Ibiza, partying so much with little kids as well and babysitters. Met as a cast and we are capital raising. So like 3 minutes before the wedding, I'm there with my wedding dress on the bed in this beautiful place in the middle of Ibiza, sending Didi answers to the.
Oh my gosh, Flavia.
This has been my life. And then we went from to Santorini for a little like honeymoon with the kids, like with 3 kids. And we are there on this top of Santorini, try to talk with the investors, try to understand what valuation can give us, and perception is not good. So I'm like, 400, 500. Oh my God, man. Like,
Oh my gosh.
that's our life. It is what it is, and this is what we are paid for. And this is awesome, but it's bizarre.
What is the most energy giving part of your role?
Oh, customers.
What about customers?
When you spend time with customers, it's where really like it is beautiful. Like traveling, I don't know why it feels so good, but when you actually are with them, I mean, my customers look for critical minerals, right? So these are explorers that probably spend 50 years of their life. It's like we call them the Indiana Jones. So they spend all their life looking for treasures around the world, looking for the big gold mine, the big copper mine. And for 50 years, the mining industry has been not very data driven. So It takes a long time to find a deposit. So these are people that are so passionate about Earth and their resources and spend all their life dedicated to it, most of the time not finding anything. Like they failed more than a VC invest in early stage. Like, literally they failed constantly. And then suddenly you are there, you bring in new technologies and new vision in their lives, and they succeed. Our customers deploy for looking for critical minerals, the most beautiful place on earth. So when I spent time with them, I was in the middle of the Canada forest, in Peru, in Chile, in the Andes, in Antarctica. You just get to see the most beautiful places, okay? And how beautiful is Earth, and how caring these people are trying to be, and still finding minerals that supports our, energy transition. And suddenly you see them that have been looking for treasures for years, finding something. And their dreams coming true. So this is the impact, right? And I think it's awesome. And I think it's just, it's happiness. And customers are brutal. Like you spend time with them and they tell you all the things that are wrong with everything that you do. And as long as you just embrace it and say, okay, let's fix this and this and this. It energizes me when I go in trips with the sales team and the customers. Probably my best time.
I mean, even the fact that they're pissed off is a signal that they love you.
That they care.
Yeah.
That they care. This is what I'm trying to tell to everyone. Like, I'm basketball. You know that when your coach starts screaming at you, it's because he has lost hope in you, because you're just bad. Okay.
Yeah, been there.
Yeah. It's like, oh, he doesn't care anymore. But
that was the end of my soccer career.
He was like, Mason is dead. Then give him a feedback.
I thought I was the next Ronaldo. I was actually just Mason. And that wasn't good.
Mason is just Mason. No, it's like this. People give you feedback when they want to see you succeed. And it is really, 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 I don't know, I love it. It's energizing. It's inspiring. I find it inspiring.
That's an important thing to remember. I need to go back to my coach. I feel so. Since I last had you on, there was a crucible moment, and you just mentioned critical minerals, but I'd love for you to explore with us just the journey of finding that, I guess, product market fit.
Product market fit is a journey, okay? Particularly when you build a technology company, because a technology company in deep tech is, unfortunately, a technology looking for a problem most of the times. Okay, so you have an assumption on some very interesting deep tech or some change in technology that can have an impact, but you are not trying to really solve a problem. So
yeah,
we had these assumptions that by reducing the economics in the sky, in space of satellites much smaller, we could have connected more application in industry, right? So it was a high level assumptions like, hey, satellites are amazing networks. They are not utilized as much because their cost is too high. If you can use them, what can you change in industries? And, and this is what Elon has done with Starlink. Like, he's changed the economics. Since people have been doing broadband for space in 50 years. That's not a new idea for Elon, but he has changed the economics. And by changing the economics, he has created scale. By having his own rockets, he launched satellites that are much cheaper, so he can charge cheaply broadband, and boom, this guy made $2-3 billion revenue in 3 years. Who does that? Okay. Yeah. So satellite networks are awesome. So our theory was really like, hey, we focus on industries and we're going to create a network that unlock industries. It's a theory, but it's not a market fit. Like, what is industry? What industry? What are you unlocking? It's a technology looking for a problem. And we were 7 companies that built a startup with this hypothesis, and those years around the world, and 5 died because they didn't find market fit.
Fascinating.
So it's really not that we came to the market saying we need to solve the critical mineral problems per se. We came to the market and say we're passionate about climate tech. We're going to look into agriculture and the critical mineral. I actually feel this approach in time will pay, because if you look at this, fleet can be 100 years companies, because once we have solved the critical mineral problem, we solve another one and another one. Because what we have created is an enabler. We have created an enabler for many changes, a satellite constellation, an AI system. But finding market fit is another founder magic. Like, I don't think there is any book that you can read that will tell you how to do it. But there is a methodology. It is not impossible. So I think if I look back, the best things that I've learned is, okay, you need to understand what is the biggest problem that you have to solve. You need to have a thesis. Our thesis is, when you are in industrial automation or helping industry, you can help something to reduce their expenditure, or you can help something to increase their success. For example, you can have satellites and connect cars, to track the GPS and connect where they are. So maybe you save them time, or you find a deposit of $3 billion and you make them money. Okay. So you can connect pipes of water to make sure that they don't waste water. Yeah. Or you can find them huge water deposits, right? So Matt and I, we wanted to be in the second part. But to look for the second part, we had to go through a lot of trials. So we started with agriculture, energy, and defense a little bit, agricultures, and man, people need to understand it. If we have built an end-to-end solution in anything possible that you would think of that you can connect to space in remote areas, bees, cows, pipes, energy, like solar farms, power stations, flood monitoring, okay? And we went deep in each of them. And our rule was like, let's see who buys. Let's see which one is the biggest problem. And there is when you build things and you put them in the market, it's a natural selection. So we started naturally selecting things by themselves. How much people are happy to pay for this? $200 a year. Okay, that's not our customers. How much is people happy to pay for this? $50,000. How much is this have an impact? Not this, not that. We call it fire your customer. So it's not that. So you put it in the market, you try, they buy. Do they want to scale up? Yes. Otherwise, I fire you. We fired customers. Then we eliminate agriculture. Then we go into energy. Then we eliminated gas. So it was this funnel of focus, okay? Focus. Continuously repeating to yourself, I'm looking for something that is a game changer for customer, something that customer can spend $10 million a year, something that is remote and needs satellites, and, something that I'm passionate about as a founder, And every 6 months, we're like, okay, this customer is not upselling. We have 4 customers in these areas. All of them are not upselling because A, B, C. If they're upselling, they're spending $20K a year. I'm not interested in this. You're fired. We'll see you in 20 years, maybe, when I got a company that can serve your application, And when we hit, so we had at the end, we had 3 customer profile, and we're having revenue, and good revenue, Mason, from the water companies and the power companies and the mining companies. All of them spending what? Like $500K a year, not pennies. When the CEO of the company that I was working with in mining, so around Rio Tinto and Osmino, said to me, this is the biggest breakthrough in mining exploration since I was born, like 60 years. This company got acquired by BHP, but he said to me, I will spend $40 million on this. And I'm like, I remember sitting down my entire leadership team for a lunch, and I said, we're focusing and we are doing critical mineral because these are world-changing things. And it was scary. The biggest things that I've learned every time I raise money in a really weird twist of events, I focused. You raise money, your first instinct is to go larger. For me, it was to go smaller.
Narrower, yeah.
Okay, now we got Series B, 1 application. Now we got Series A, 3 applications, 1 application. So just going smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's literally the theory of, crossing the chasm and the beachhead strategy, conquer your niche, and then you grow. So I think market fit is all about focus and let go and focus. And no one wants to focus. No one in the company ever take the responsibility to focus. not the CRO, not the head of sales, not the head of product, not the CPO. No one will ever tell you we're going to abandon this because we think that the market fit is there. No one. It's a founder decisions. No one will take that decisions ever. It's too scary.
It's so scary. I mean, when you're talking about like firing customers and also in tandem with that, like that's where you get the most energy. And it's like, we actually can't help you.
Yeah, we can't help you. We are not the right person. You cannot help us, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a win-win.
You never have enough information to decide if the path that you are taking is the correct one. You have enough, but not all of them. So at a certain point, you just have to make a decision. The way I always look at this is that if you don't make a decision, you die. Okay? If you don't focus, you die as a company. So you better focus. So you give it a try. There is no books that explain you how to do this. One day I will have to do it because they look for, and look for market fit. A fleet has been quite a journey. A lot of people tells me, my God, you pivot. You did a pivot. That is a word in startup. To critical mirrors, I'm like, that's not really how it works. This is big. It's a focus. It's market fit.
We evolved. How do you keep focused? You mentioned earlier, like you've got an executive coach and they're helping you to keep focus. You have to focus on the right thing. Like what's that? How do you find that Zen focused Flavia state?
I don't know. I think my role as a CEO is right people doing the right job, right? And so focus is my superpower. Okay, so it is. If Flavia's got a superpower, is making decision for focus. Interestingly, when you are emotionally invested in a department, you don't focus anymore. Like
You don't?
no.
Interesting.
For example, when I was very, very close to satellites, I was like, we should build this satellite and this satellite and this because it's fun. When I'm very close to sales, I'm like, we should conquer Mexico and Peru and go to Chile. It's gonna be fun. But when you step back a little bit, you're like, we put all the resources here, we conquer here, we move there, and we conquer that. So these things about beachhead and resources, so one product, one strategy, one go-to-market strategy, it's very hard for who is in the game because people are scared.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, after Series C, I said to everyone, my focus after Series, so Series B, the focus was critical minerals. After Series C was copper. So not just critical mineral, copper. And I was like, why copper, not lithium? I'm like, I don't know. Let's analyze it. Is it copper? Is it gold? Is it lithium? Is it nickel? Which one it is? Why can't we do it all? Because we don't have the resources. Because every single thing is slightly different. Because it's just a different sprinkle. We did an analysis. We selected copper. After 2 months, nickel, lithium, and others crashed. Sometimes you need to be very lucky. I don't know if lucky is a word. So now it's Series D. What's the focus?
What is the focus?
I haven't had that breakthrough yet, but it's coming. It's coming. Usually the breakthrough happens a month after every round for me.
You'll have to go back to Santorini. Start taking calls from the beach.
Exactly. What could be the focus? Every time we focus, we triple.
Every time we focus, we triple.
That's it. In the window of time of 6-7 months, it's insane. And everyone fights it because it's scary. Because everyone thinks, what if we have choose the wrong horse? And I guess that's the different success from if we had choose lithium, we would probably be in not a good state right now. But we didn't choose lithium. We didn't choose water. We choose all the right things, right? Why? Because we are good leaders? No, because you need to trust yourself as a founder,
It's been a while since I've had you on the pod, and you're now accelerating like rockets. Sorry, I had to use it once. How has space changed?
Space in the past 3 years changed. The past 4 years changed so much for Elon. Like this in my lifetime and in the lifetime in which I created this startup, has been the biggest inspiration and the biggest blocker of everything. We were discussing with Peter back the other day, how inspiring it is to build a startup next to him in which he demonstrated, that space is accessible. So you don't have one launcher here, but you got hundred in a window of time of 5 years. I remember when I launched my first satellites, what would cost me $5 million. Now it costs $500K. in 3-4 years. That's insane, right? So he demonstrated everything is possible. He is now demonstrating in technologies. He's demonstrated with Starlink that everything is possible in business plans, as long as you have vertical integration and you own the end-to-end solution. Super inspiring, right? On the other hand, Elon is Elon. So if you want to build a business in his word, you would have 300 out of 301 investors saying, why cannot Elon do this? And the question is, do you need to niche and become really, really good, you know? And sometimes it makes me laugh that Elon launches our satellites, and our satellites look for lithium, they use it in Tesla. Great. Okay,
Right.
copper, you know, great. So somehow I insert myself in his supply chain, his chain, and managed to be clever. So space has changed, and he had demonstrated business model from space. But for me, the difference of things that we have done compared to SpaceX or other space companies is not vertically integrated in the technical stack in this direction per se, in which you got the rockets, the satellites, the ground stations, but in the other direction in which you own the data.
Mm.
And the reason why we'll be able to compete because we own the data. We own the data about its subsurface, you know. So that is where the money are.
Why is that?
Because when the satellite is an enabler, AI is an enabler, the data is what people pay $10 million here. Because that $10 million here can result in a $3 billion deposit. So they're happy to spend even more than that.
Mm.
So we decided to own that first. You see, we're talking with Peter Beck about the fact that he built a rocket. So they've started from the other side. We started from this side. And this side is where customers are. So you're starting very close to customers, very, very close to customers. And I like it better.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you get all the energy from. But why does it make sense for someone like Peter to build satellites when fleet's marching forward?
I think rockets, I don't know, this is my theory, but I think rockets makes a lot of money. Like SpaceX is, of course, got a monopoly on rockets, so that's okay. But if you think about how much revenue I'm getting from Starlink, way more, like in a much smaller period of time, because that's the application, right? People pay for the application. So for him, it's like, I need vertical in it, I need the satellites to build an application, but what application? So it is, again, try to find a market fit. It's just a fascinating word. For me, what is interesting is that we are the companies that are moving humanity forward.
Without a doubt. Have you seen, I think we were chatting about this, but basically so Starlink's a good example where you change the economics, you're delivering something that already exists and you're democratizing it in a way.
Yeah.
Is that the true imagination that space unlocks? For me, it sort of falls short on, I don't know, a totally different world where we can explore different.
For fleet is different from that because we are not trying to do that. Like we actually go in the total polar opposite. Like
Exactly.
we are trying to find application where people spend a lot. So we are not trying to democratize or finding a way for technology to people to spend less. We are more like the tool that we have created for exploring Earth, Moon, Mars, and other planets is so valuable that people will spend a lot about it. This is the tool for reaching the stars. It's actually different if you think about it, you know? So for me, space is more, I see what he has done. I think Starlink is fantastic. And what a clever move. Like, you know, satellites being the customer with a rocket, like amazing, okay? I like really deep tech. Like with fleet, we are understanding the subsurface of Earth. You know, when you will want to go with Starship to Mars, we will still need water. We will still need power. We will still need iron. We will still need things to build. And guess who's going to find those?
Flavia?
Fleet. Maybe I'll be dead by then, but you know what I mean?
Surely not.
And it's all about, I think it's all about what I talk about all the time, that the difference between being an explorer and being an exploiter, right? Because we are going for the stars, we are going for the moon, we are going for Mars, that's for sure. And if we can build technologies and we can find resources much more efficiently than what we have done to this planet, that's probably our contribution to humanity. Like we are just passing fleet. Like, you know, I'm 40. Like, am I at the 1/3 or half of my lifetime? I don't know what's going to happen. But, you know, this is hopefully at 1,000 of years of generation of my kids and their kids and beautiful things that humanity will build. It's not given that we're not going to destroy everything, you know? And I'm still a big believer that we need to focus on make this planet good and make sure that we go to other planet in the right way. So yesterday, my sister, she's got 3 little kids, and they were looking at the stars in Italy. She lives in Italy. And they saw the Starlink satellites. I mean, you can see them.
Yeah, I saw videos the other day. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And the little kids, they're all like 3, 4. They're like, oh my God, it's like, it's not a Christmas is coming. So, but can you believe that as a humanity, we have actually changed our star sky? Like the sky, like it is really unbelievable, but it's also really confronting, you know what I mean?
Totally. It's actually wild. I remember in 2018, and you were just pitched, and we were talking about it. This is at the old Blackbird office. And I think it was Rick who was basically like, imagine just having these stars in the sky.
And what 2 years after happened?
Yeah.
So fleet satellites are too little, but each satellite's pretty big, right?
Exactly.
2 years in.
If you could go back to 2018 and like be your mentor, what would you be advising your younger self?
Get to market fit much faster. We'll be like minerals.
Wink, wink.
Minerals. You know, at least I would have not spent 3 years trying to find this market fit. You know, it is that's probably, but you know, you need to go through the pain. It is just, it is what it is.
What about with deep tech founders? Like, so much of the time it is, I have found a technology and I'm building outwards from there versus oftentimes you're coming from the problem and building from there.
And that's what the story that we're talking about. You know, I think that deep tech it takes longer. Like Nikki always talks about the fact that the opposite, you know, starts revenue much earlier, and it grows constantly, while deep tech has got zero revenue for the 10 years, 8 years, and then woo, if them it's market fit. That I think is the summary of the differences, because it takes you a long time. Most of them don't get there. What I've learned about, if you love a technology, if you want to bring a technology for the only way to get it through, that's the wink that I would have give to myself in 2018. Focus and vertically integrate in one thing. You go quantum, you do space, you do telecommunication, you do laser. I don't know what you're doing that is super deep tech. Nail it in one application and go and do that. And give the technology, and then because trying to be everything for everyone, that kills deep tech.
Kills most businesses, but definitely deep tech.
Yeah, but definitely deep tech, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, there are investors like Nikki and you guys have been so patient. Like, you know, year 1, year 2, 3, 4, on year 5. Whoop, it's something ever gonna happen with revenue here? Like anything, anytime soon?
You heard Nikki's talk about like the marshmallow test, right?
What is the marshmallow test?
Oh, there's like a. I thought you were there. It was at an LP day, and there's like a Stanford test where basically they're testing different children on effectively their willpower, and they'll have a marshmallow, and basically, I'm going to butcher this. The kids that who hold themselves back and have that willpower and have the patience not to eat the marshmallow tend to do better in life by a suite of metrics. Anyway, I'm butchering it. I apologize. Point being, he was using Fleet as like the patient child that waited.
They never ate the marshmallow.
Yeah. Instead of going for it. And it was like the ultimate marshmallow test in that way.
The huge marshmallow, you know. Yeah,
that's a big ass marshmallow.
It is true. Like, you know, you know what is interesting on the founder's journey, the marshmallow story, is that the resilience, you know, the Everest, Mount Everest resilience that I was talking to you about, it really expands you, not just in business, but in life. Okay. So when I started Free the first couple of years, I was a completely different human than now. Now, no matter what happened in my personal life, I had a divorce, my mom passed, my dad is sick. You mentioned it, like people having a struggle. My best friend died this year. I was on a wheelchair. So I had a lot of shit going on in the past 6 years of this company. And just you learn, your soul expand, on how good you are to taking problems, or how happy you are to live life, on how your values change. If you do it in the right way, you actually become a really good human, that can face anything. Because running a business like this, it is painful, people. Like every day you wake up and you have to do your Mount Everest. Every day you're like, I am done with this shit, and then you put your bag on and you go. But I feel expanded. I feel that no matter what's going to happen to my life, because life are complicated, I can face it, because Matt and I, as a couple and as having businesses, and it's got every day there is something, but at the end of the night, we hug each other and say, this was a good day. It was a good day because of that thing that happened at 12. Forget about the others. That thing is good, And we grab on it and we are like, let's make that bigger. And of course, it's easier when you share the dream of your life with the persons you love. So that's much easier.
Flavia, thank you for living life to the fullest, and congrats on the Series D. And what an honor. That was amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Wow.
I could just chew your ear off and just let you talk. You said it perfectly. It's like you're climbing Mount Everest. It's the hardest thing ever, but your soul is just so much full. And that's why I said thank you for living life to the fullest, because it's like you're living like 50 lifetimes in the space of 8 years. I'm just like sitting there going, oh my gosh, like in 8 years, there's so many lifetimes that have been lived. It's like, if that's what the meaning of life is just to like enjoy the journey and
go for it,
and enjoy the suffering and see how much suffering you can go through, and then get on the other side of it. It's like, this is it.
It's good.
It's amazing.
But you should be very proud because you are part of this.
It's just, yeah. I mean, it's an honor to be involved in a very, very small way.
Let's keep working.
It's infectious.
Now
let's keep working.
150 million as fast as possible.
All right, it's time to focus, Flavia. Thank you so much. I won't take any more of your time. See you later.
Thank you so much for joining us on this latest episode of Wild Hearts. If you want to learn from other ambitious people that are building, designing, and creating the world that we want to live in, then please hit the follow or subscribe button. It would mean the world to us here on the Wild Hearts team. We have an insane producer, Melia Rayner, an incredible editor, Andy Jones from Welcome to Day One, and our marketing and content support is provided by Jonathan Bleakley, and we couldn't do it without them. If you're searching for investment, please, my DMs are open. Find me on LinkedIn. I'd love to help. And so with that, we'll see you next week, Wild Hearts.